welcome your host of Bombing Run, General A.A. Ron.
Thank you. I'm General A.A. Ron. It's time for everyone's favorite comedian game show, Bombing Run. Yeah, all right. Thank you. The rules for Bombing Run are simple. Each comedian combatant does their 5-minute sets, while the mysterious comedian judge will be looking for their setup punch and their appearance in front of a live studio audience. Warning combatants. If you say the F or C word, Freddie F. Bomb your set, and you can't be Joker or Ace. Okay? So I want you please to welcome my mysterious comedian judge tonight. Please give it up for Judge Judgelo! Judge Judgelo!
Whoa.
They are not from the Insane Clown Posse. No, they're not. They are a comedian. You will never know who this comedian is. I have him in my witness protection program, which consists of a Motel 6 on 8 Mile in Detroit. Okay. That's how that one works. So let's meet our comedian combatants for the night. Let's meet contestant number 1.
I am Walter Gottlieb in Washington, D.C.
All right, let's meet contestant number 2.
Representing Canada, I'm in Toronto. I'm Kelly Zemnikas.
Woo! And now contestant number 3.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Barnes coming to you from New York, New York.
All right, these comedian combatants are going to do battle on Bombing Run. So comedian combatants, places everywhere, back in formation, as we're going to go to our first comedian combatant. Let's give it up for Walter Gottlieb, everybody. Woo!
Oh, thank you, mein General. Great to be here. Thank you for having me. It's great to be named Walter. Yes, I'm proud to have the most popular baby name of 1943. I really am. It's like my parents thought, what name could we give the baby that will guarantee he'll get his ass kicked? And I needed some good ass kickings in school, so I'm grateful. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I was named after a German Jewish immigrant who actually went back to Europe to fight Hitler.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Knocked him out clean in 3 rounds. Amazing left jab to the mustache. I'm so proud of that. So I probably didn't have to tell you that I'm Jewish. Got the elegant Jewish nose. And living down south as a Jew was super interesting and a little confusing. Some good old boys actually threatened to burn a cross on my lawn.
What?
They did. Yep. Once they did. And I was like, knock yourselves out. Because I'm Jewish, the cross just doesn't mean that much to me. Burn a brisket on my lawn, we're going to have a problem. Okay? So I have 3 Gen Z daughters. I have 3 Gen Z daughters, and and of course, they're grown up now, so it would be immature to call me daddy. So they call me Boomer. I don't like that, man. My daughters are a trip, and by that I mean they've taught me a ton of stuff about psychedelics. Have you heard of this thing called ego death? You guys, my daughter said, "Oh, Daddy, one of our friends went on a bad acid trip and suffered ego death," and I was like, I don't know what that is, but ego death doesn't sound that bad. Like, it happens to Daddy every night on stage. So there you go. I do try to keep up with the gender and sexual fluidity of Gen Z, and I recently came out to my daughters as straight. Okay. And they're like, "That is so boring, Daddy. Like, shouldn't you be bisexual like us? Like, if you were born in our generation, do you think you'd be bisexual?" And I'm like, I don't know how to answer that, girls. Like, I don't even know how Roku works. You know what I mean? I can't even watch Bombing Run.
Oh.
So let's hook me up with that. Then we'll talk about my orientation if I were born during the second Bush administration. Okay. So I'm trying to read the little clock. Okay, so I don't want to go over my time, but it's so little, Aaron. Okay, I see it. Okay.
Yeah, a couple minutes.
So please don't score me down for that, Judge. I just didn't want to wear glasses. So I am interested in the lingo of Gen Z. I'm very interested in the language. And they have this, Gen Z has this term, low key. Everything's low key. And I guess it means somewhat. And I support, but I worry what happens when this generation grows up to be high school history teachers. Be like, okay, class, in 1963, John F. Kennedy was like low-key assassinated. You know what I mean? Like when he was a prisoner of war in Vietnam, John McCain was low-key tortured. We kind of low-key dropped some bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It's no big deal, you know. I think those things are kind of high key, if you ask me. I'm still trying to read the clock. Oh, I got a minute left. It's counting down. Okay, which brings me to this. Why are there so many Yiddish words for penis? There's at least 7 of them. Schmuck, schmeckel, schwanz, schlong, petzel, shtickel, and putz. Some of them sound like a cheer for the Hebrew University football team. Schmeckel, schwanz, putz. Let's get circumcised.
Whoa!
Give me a C. Never mind. So we Jews are 3% of the population. We have 7 words for penis, but not a single word that anyone knows of for vagina.
Whoa!
Yeah, apparently the Yiddish word for vagina is harder to find than the clit.
So
I guess the Altacockers, that's the old Yiddish men who invented Yiddish, were obsessed with their cocks. Anyway,
oh,
y'all have been lovely. Thank you. That's my time. Back to you, mein General.
all right, let's give it up for Walter Gottlieb. And Walter, where can we find you on social media?
It's all at Walter J. Gottlieb, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, 4chan, and Breitbart.
Ah, Breitbart. All right, thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and by the way, if I make the timer any bigger, it takes up the entire screen. Walter, I'm just going to send you a prescription for glasses from Lens Crafters. Okay. Thank you so much. Judgelo, no, I'm not wearing makeup. No. This is not an Insane Clown Posse comedy set. This is just, I told you. Oh, okay. Oh, you're good to go. All right. So we're ready for our next comedian combatant. Come to the stage. Please give it up for Kelly Zemeckis, everybody.
Hey! I just bring a studio audience wherever I go now. Yeah. They're going to need to tell jokes now. It's crazy. I am Kelly Zemeckis, and I'm sure there is somebody watching this who is wondering, is she running a failing Etsy store? I know. I get it. I have some BCE, some big crafting energy. I look like I made the captain's outfit there. But no, I am not running a failing Etsy store because it already failed. So joke's on you all. Joke's on you. Already failed. Also, I gotta answer this question. No, I don't own any Live, Laugh, Love pillows.
Oh,
None of them. But I do own a Cry, You Are Trying, Drink More Wine blanket. I do have. Yeah, it's a weighted blanket. Yes, it's just weighed down by my own crushing self-doubt. So,
oh.
So it's a weighted blanket because I go through it a lot. I do. Yeah, you used to be able to find it on my Etsy store. So. Too late. I consider myself to be a good daughter. You know, I see my mom and dad every single day. Yeah. Sure, I live with them, but big deal. Big deal. Yeah, it doesn't matter. My parents are pretty cool. I gotta say, you know, my dad is 88 years young, and he's trying to get more in touch with his feelings, you know? So this morning over breakfast, he said, Kelly, tell me about the first time you had sex.
Whoa. What?
Holy shit.
I was like, could we have started with how are you? We're working on it. Also, I have stopped offering vodka at breakfast in my house because clearly not a good idea. It is not a good idea. I've got a quirky little job. I get paid to watch TV.
What?
I know, right? I know.
That job.
I work in post-production, so I'm watching a lot of TV all the time. And as a result, I am filled with fun facts. And a fact I learned today, friends, is you can't weld aluminum if it's dirty. I don't have a joke for that. I just had to. Like I always say, if you can't get a laugh, give a good welding fact. It's just the same thing. I am in a long distance relationship, so I divide my time between Toronto and Brooklyn, New York. Woo! Yeah, which sounds cool. I've got the good end of the deal. I can say stuff like that, and my boyfriend gets to say, my girlfriend lives in Canada. It goes down. It doesn't go up like Brooklyn, New York. It just down. But I have to say, as hard as it is being far apart, the best part about long distance dating is when I'm crossing the border and they say, ma'am, do you have anything to declare? I just get to shout out, I've had sex. Which is so good for your ego. Like, let me tell you. Especially after like 3 years in lockdown and being a woman in her mid-40s, I'll tell anybody, even everybody at Pearson Airport in Toronto, I'll tell them. This feels good coming back into my home country, high-fiving Canadian customs guys. It's really. I'll end with this, friends. You seem like a smart group here watching the show tonight. A question for you: how many times is too many for my therapist to say to me, Kelly, you should use that in your set tonight? Like, is it a good thing we're writing together? I don't know, but he's going to watch the show later and we're going to talk about my feelings about it on Wednesday. So I think Kelly Zemeckis, thanks so much.
All right, let's give it up for Kelly Zemeckis, everybody. Kelly, where can we find you on social media?
Well, I've got a YouTube channel, which is under my name, Kelly Zemnikas, and on Instagram, you can find me under the Latvian Foodie. That's Latvian, the Latvian Foodie. And you can go grab my album, Sugar and Spice and Smirnoff Ice, which is out now.
Sweet. All right, let's go check all that out. That's awesome. I have been on the our YouTube channel. We made Impossible Cheeseburger Pie. That's what I remember making.
So good.
And I'm still eating it too. That from about a year and a half ago. It just never left. All right. And by the way, you do have to claim that you're bringing something back from the States, just to carry on. All right, Judge Hello, are you ready for the next comedian? No, we're not going to do a mosh pit after the show. All right, we're ready for our next comedian combatant. Let's give it up for Lindsay Barnes, everybody. Woo!
Hi, everybody. Oh my gosh, Kelly brought the audience in. Meanwhile, I had to kick mine out. Mainly because it was my kids and I just knew they wouldn't laugh at me. I mean, there is a key difference, by the way. Like, locking your kids in their room, that's child abuse. But locking myself, like locking them out of my room, that's just self-care. So just don't worry about it. Happy Teacher Appreciation Week, everybody. Woo! So listen, I was homeschooling during the pandemic, or as I like to think of it, learning way too late in life how dumb I really am. I have a lot of respect for teachers at this point. Mostly just how much fun they're having these days. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but teachers haven't called a kid weird in like 25 years. That doesn't mean there aren't weird kids, by the way. Like there's all of a sudden there's an awful lot of unique, quirky, individual, special kids running around out there. Guys, they just rebranded weird. That's all. I don't know. I think it's great. I get a little nervous. Like my son's teacher the other day was telling me all about his active imagination. I was like, oh dear God, no, here we go. Which I probably shouldn't have said while we were on the conference call, but but she was excited. She was like, no, he could be a famous novelist one day. I was like, okay, you're saying creative storyteller, but I'm hearing pathological liar, so. Like, don't get me wrong. I would love to raise the next George R.R. Martin, but not the next George Santos. Right, on the line. Can we just, one quick note on George Santos? You guys notice that the only story about him that he denied was the one about him being a drag queen? Like, baby, that was the only thing we liked about you. Not a smart man. So I'm 45. Yeah, no, I need you to applaud that. Thank you. Because let's face it, I feel like it's giving more hard 39. But also because this is it. I've peaked. Here's a fun fact they don't tell you about aging is that you're gonna peak and you're not gonna know it until at least 5 years later. It's very sad. I wasn't sure where 45 shook out in the whole aging process. So the other day I Googled, am I in middle age? Which is the most middle-aged thing you can do, for the record. But what I found, unbelievable. It's regarded as a period of declining health, superstition, violent revolts, also known as the Dark Ages. So it was at that point I realized that I had actually Googled, am I in Middle Ages? But honestly, I kept reading because it all tracked like a period of social oppression, persecution of minorities, a plague. Guys, they had a plague. Like, I don't even know how to break this to you guys, but we're all in Middle Ages at this point.
That's right.
But I'm leaning in. These days, any minor ailment, I'm just kind of like, well, 45, we had a good run. That's, best we could have hoped for. And then 10 minutes passes and I'm like, maybe I just can't eat raw onions anymore. I don't know, a couple of important inventions of the Middle Ages. Coffee and eyeglasses. Show me a middle-aged person who can exist without at least one of those things. They don't exist. Doesn't exist. Another important invention of the Middle Ages, the heavy plow. I mean, not daily, but every once in a while. Yes, please. So my friend the other day was like, I'm just thinking out loud. I was like, so like talking? I already have a word for that. She's the same person that walks into a room and is just like eyeballing things. I'm like, that's just seeing them. Like, we don't need to rename the senses, you guys. They're like, what's next? The server comes over like, so how's everything tonguing for you folks tonight? Good. We're good on the words we already have. All right, listen, it's been my absolute pleasure to be so from my kids. I'm Lindsay Barnes.
All right, let's give it up for Lindsay Barnes, everybody. Where can we find you on social media?
So you could find me on Instagram and TikTok at Hey Lindsay Barnes. That's H-E-Y and Lindsay's with an E. And Twitter at Miss Spartacus, which is also my website.
Oh, sweet. Go check out those things. Yes, I was checking out Miss Spartacus' website. That was an awesome website. Oh my gosh. And you know what? That was our 3 comedian combatants. So let's give them all a big round of applause tonight. Walter Gottlieb, Kelly Zemeckis, Lindsay Barnes. Oh my gosh, they were so awesome. And now I gotta go to Judge Hello. What? The one with the black and white makeup. There's nobody on the show with black and white makeup. You're not watching the right show. Oh, okay. Well, I know who Joker Ace of game number 1 is tonight. Joker Ace of game number 1 is Lindsey Barnes, everybody!
Hey.
Awesome. Stick around. You're gonna go in Dogfight Edition right after game number 2. You are awesome. That is our Joker Ace for game number 1 tonight, guys. That's so sweet.